friends, Pastor Randy here, back with you today, making it simple, why discernment matters. As we kicked off a brand new teaching yesterday, Seeking and Understanding, we're starting in Proverbs chapter 2, and a lot of important information is found here. One of the things, that we need to grasp is we live in a time that is overrun with information. Well, you say, well, Pastor, it's the information age. It's the time of great knowledge. And that's true. We have massive amounts of information. Entwined in that, we also have a lot of opinions and a lot of opportunities and a lot of choices. And so much so sometimes you can barely keep up with it. It's almost overload. The ability to discern, and that's what we're going to be looking at deeply through this teaching, the ability to discern not just between right and wrong. See, this goes much deeper than that, because that is a surface level moral issue that pretty much nobody really argues about. Okay, that's not really the problem. The right and the wrong, again, that can lean into opinion. You may think it's right, I may think it's wrong, vice versa, whatever. But that's not the dilemma here. It's not the dilemma here. This is discernment that is much deeper than just a mere right and wrong, or a true and a false. Because again, that can be moved into the column of, well, that's your opinion. But what is of God and what is not? That's where we start getting serious. That's where we have to really have a greater level of discernment. What does that mean? In order for me to understand if something is of God, then I have to know who God is. Jesus says in Matthew chapter 24, many will come in my name. That has never been more true than it is right now. There's been a ton of people come through the years, and we've seen all the risings of, and we're not just talking about like TV evangelist guys, and we're not talking about the traveling guys, we're not talking about cult leaders. We're talking about right now on the social media platform. There has never been, and obviously with the advent of social media, there's never been more opportunity than there is right now for a level of people sitting in front of a microphone, just like you see me doing with the Bible, telling you something. But is it of God or is it not? You see, words can be made to sound very interesting. Words can be made to sound very believable if we're honest about it, because a good orator, a good speaker can make anything sound good. They could read you the phone book and be like, wow, that's interesting. But Jesus said, be mindful of that, because he said, many will come in my name saying, I am the Messiah. Why does that matter? I am the Messiah. What he's saying is those who are coming, they may not utter that word. They may not tell you, I'm Jesus. But the intent of their words is telling you, follow me. Listen to me. Not listen to my message. Listen to me. And he says, many will come in my name saying, I am the Messiah, and they will. That's an affirmative word. That is a word that is saying it's going to happen. They will deceive many. In other words, people are going to listen to false things, and they're going to believe false things. It's really been a bee in my bonnet lately. I'm not going to lie to you. Because I see so many things that are being labeled or presented or offered that supposedly a teaching from the Bible, from the things of the Lord. And friends, it's nowhere close. And I don't say that because, again, I want to be very, very careful. I don't want it to come across as, well, this guy thinks he knows everything. I don't. But discernment is one of the gifts the Lord has given me when it comes to the things that are true and are not, when it comes to the things of God. And discernment is so much more than intuition, okay? It is a spiritual matter that directs us to the voice of God, which absolutely requires that we know who He is, that we recognize His presence, that we know His clarity, we know His truth. In the advent of the AI that is dominating so many things today, and so much of it is very, very useful, and some of it is very dangerous, because pictures can be presented of something that's truly not real. It looks really neat, and in some cases it's close, but obviously it's not. There's a real popular thing going right now. What would this person look like if they were still alive? Or what would this person look like if they were older? And some are spot on, and some are nowhere close. But what does that require? If you've never heard of that person before, then you say, yeah, I guess that's what they look like. And so you just accept that and go on. No harm, no foul, right? Well, it all depends on who you have a discussion with. Oh, I seen this picture of someone that really, I'd like to see that. And you're telling them, like, well, that's not what they look like. And then it turns into and the problem was you didn't know who they were. All right. So that's on a very, very minor level. This is of God. But someone who truly has a relationship with God says that's nowhere close. That doesn't just become an argument. That becomes divisive, because if this other person really, there's this guy that's got a radio program. He does it live on YouTube and different stuff like that. The most arrogant, offensive, under the label of a Christian teacher that I've probably ever seen, maybe. I mean, this is a person that mocks the people that call in. And he calls himself a pastor, a teacher, a Christian leader, whatever you want, all the different labels. I mean, it openly mocks the people that call in to his program with questions that they're sincerely trying to get answers to. And he gives them short, sarcastic answers in some degrees. Other degrees, he tries to come across as this great, deep theologian that knows everything. None of the answers are comforting, and none of the answers are fulfilling. And then if it's someone that he has a mockery of, when they get off the line, he makes fun of them on air. I mean, he said to this one poor man the other day, well, this guy, you can't pay him any attention. He don't have all of his paws in the litter box. Is that what a person of God would really do? No. Do we meet people that we don't always line up with? Absolutely. Do we get silly questions? I can't even tell you how many I've gotten before. I had someone ask me one time, is Bigfoot and Jesus the same thing? So you're going to get silly stuff, but how you react to that is a reflection of not just your character, but a reflection of how serious you are about what you're doing. And as I'm sitting here teaching and doing this, I take this immensely serious because, friends, there's been no greater time of information, but there's been no greater time for the need for discernment of understanding what we are receiving. Our attention, our prayers, our direction of life, they have to be grounded in clarity in the things of God if we're going to understand where do they land. Because we're being bombarded with all these different ideas, opinions, and offerings, but which one is right? And this is not a matter of right and wrong in the moral dilemma. As I said earlier, this is not about even a theological battle, because there again, that's an opinion. You know, this person translated it this way. This person saw this. Okay. But what if God could show you there's something completely different that you didn't see at all? And that was the intent that he had. That was why that story was included in Scripture. That's why that verse was there. That's why this word means this. We could go down every road. And the way that we do that, the way that we find out the solid foundation of who God is, who Jesus is, what he offers, then we have to learn to look deeper than the surface. We have to learn to get deeper into who we are to him and who he is to us. This all goes back, and again, and I make no apology for this, the core foundation of my ministry is relationship. Because until you have a right heart relationship with God, you don't understand the things of God. And I don't mean that in a critical way. That's a factual thing. It's just like our relationships with each other. If we don't truly know each other, we can only speculate. All right. Cosmetics can be deceiving, as we know in this world today. Not everything is what it appears to be. We have to remember, and I'm going to close with this today. We have to remember the enemy can appear as an angel of light. So when we come back together on Monday, we're going to kick off the real deep part of this teaching series. We're going to jump back into Proverbs chapter 2. Wanted to kind of continue where we left off yesterday. And really, we're going to dive into the deep end of the pool in this. And I pray that it'll be a blessing to you. I look forward to bringing you each and every verse of this section of Proverbs and how it applies to our life today. Do you know him? I sure hope so. It'll change your life forever. God bless you. Have a great day.